Hello, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about moving and what moving can unlock for us, how to decide where to move, and my experience with that. So, within my journey, I have moved a lot within my childhood. I moved a lot over the last year when I traveled. I moved a lot for work. And now this move is something different that I'm making. I'm kind of like in an in between. Again, in this like cocoon space where it's like the unknown, which usually can feel very uncomfortable and usually is very something that is like, we just like hate the bridge. We just want to like get to the other side. We just want to go there. And it's like the humanness of us that like hates like the quote of like enjoy the journey, like the journey, I just want to get there. But then when we get there, we actually are like, wait, the journey was actually really fun and I want to go back and experience that. So that is kind of where I'm at right now. And maybe you're there too, or maybe you're in a different kind of journey outside of a move, but because this is what we're going to dive into. So, I had just recently moved out of St. Louis, Missouri. I was there for the last year for work and loved it so much. Like, there is so much, like, when we make a shift or when we want to make a shift, we can think of like, oh, I hate this place. And like, I have to think of all the things that were wrong for me to like want something different. And that's just not the energy that we're in. So instead of doing that, I had decided to really be like, man, what did I love about this place? What did this place really open up for me? And what I loved was I loved the place that I lived. It was like vibes of the cottage in the holiday where she goes, what is it, to London, where Cameron Diaz goes. It's like, it was that feeling. It was that vibe. It was cozy. It was brick walls. It was like 1800s house, live in the courtyard kind of vibe. I had a park there with trees, and it was just a beautiful space. And I was super close to family, which I got to see all the time and go to family events that I previously wasn't really able to go to, and just felt very loved and supported. I had new friends that I had met. I felt very like in the community. I had all of my favorite things, to like gym, to sauna and dance and food and music, all this kinds of stuff that I absolutely loved. And so it was such a huge chapter where I got to settle in and ground and really lean into staying somewhere and feeling connected. I had felt like that time was up, and it was logistically time for me to move on. And I kind of like were dragging my feet on it. And I actually can't remember if I said this in a podcast, but I'll just go over the story briefly. Briefly, um, is that like I was going to extend my work contract another few weeks, and I got locked out of my apartment. And this is one of these signs where you have to let me know if you're experiencing these very like intense signs, because like I am getting these more and more frequently, and it's just like more like aggressive. Like the universe is literally like, no, we're going this way. And I'm thankfully like listening to them. But yeah, so I got locked out of my apartment, didn't have my phone, didn't have any way to get in, and I was like, fine, I won't stay here another 2 weeks. And I then after I said that, the idea popped in my head. It was like, okay, maybe I have a window open, because sometimes I do that when I'm taking a bath. So I had a window open. I had to scale my windows because the staircase was like deeper than like the window. The window was higher than the staircase. So I had to like scale the window, like crawl over to the other window. And I'm kind of afraid of heights, so this was not ideal. Opened the window and climbed through the bathtub and got into my apartment. And I was like, okay, like contract's up, time for me to move. And so I listened to that. And in the process, like I went to Sedona for the retreat and then came back and completely shifted within my energy and literally felt like I would die if I stayed in the place too long. Like I was embodying a new energy, a new frequency, a new person, a new name. And if I stayed there a few more weeks, it would have just been so painful. And I'm like, okay, wow. Like 2 weeks before that, or even longer, a month before that, is when I decided, okay, fine, I'll listen. That's when I got locked out. And if I hadn't listened, and if I just went to my logical brain to be like, we could stay here, make a little bit more money. Like it's safe here. Like this is fine. We love our place. If I would have pushed past that like intuitive nudge, I would have absolutely like just had a whole different experience of this new embodiment. And so sometimes when the contracts are up in relationships and friendships and locations, places we live, the jobs that we're in, if we don't listen to that first feeling, first nudge, it can just get louder and louder. More things can go wrong. Things get more intense. And we're like, oh my God, okay, fine, I'll listen. But it's just easier for all of us if we just listen the first time. And so this is what I did. And I was like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to move to next. This is, I have no idea where I want to live. The whole year, and when I was in St. Louis, I would tell people like, yeah, I'm in search for a new home. Like, I don't know where I want to live. I'd love to settle down for a little bit. But of course, I was still nomadic and not permanent there and not really actively looking for a place to live. So the universe was probably like, bitch, I'm confused. So I decided, this was the time that I was going to move. I was going to make the decision and the jump and leap. And thankfully, I am in a situation and I have amazing parents that are able to hold space for me. And they were like, you know what? You don't know where you're going to go next. So why don't you just come stay with us and we'll have a fun summer and then you can figure it out, your next step. So I was like, sweet. So this is kind of like a new step for me to like actually like that feminine side where we get to allow support and we get to allow others to hold space for us and support us. And it's no longer the energy anymore of like, I have to do everything alone. And that was definitely the past me where I was like, I have to do everything alone. I'm a strong, independent woman and I don't need anybody's support and I don't need a partner and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, not anymore, because this is exhausting and it's tiring and it's kind of lonely. So let's not do that anymore. So I was like, yeah, dope. I'm going to take you up on that offer and we're just going to see what happens. So I took the moved out of St. Louis, drove to Cincinnati. If you didn't hear of that fiasco, listen to the few episodes back, and landed in Cincinnati and absolutely just feel my energy just open up, have more space to breathe. I have more time to focus on what is next. And I had a few ideas or suggestions made in that Sedona retreat of where that next home would be. And it was only opened up to me in guidance from spirit. It only was there and became available because I already made the decisions to follow the nudges, to leave and to travel to where I knew where I needed to go to the land next. So I already cutted the contract with St. Louis and I already had booked a trip to Peru. It was already a place that I knew the land needed me and I needed the land. It's this exchange. Like you never have an idea or this longing to go somewhere for no reason. Like it's legit for you to give the land codes and for you to pick up the codes. There's like, it's legit an energy exchange. So I'm just going to leave that there for you. Super powerful. And it's so powerful for you to actually act on it, to go if you can. And if you can't, you can tune into the land energetically and say like, okay, be in meditation and say like, communicate with the land and do that with you or for yourself. Doing that, it's just much more powerful to just take the leap and just go there. So I had already made those decisions. Therefore, Spirit was able to say, okay, these are the next places that you might be able to move to that would be helpful for your next step. Like, this is what's the next step. And one of those places were Austin. And I was like, cool, okay, maybe in the summer then I'll visit. I had which is just funny how the things work out and the way that things are synchronistic and nothing is for nothing. Like everything is synchronistic, especially when you start to like trust the path and follow the breadcrumbs, like follow the fucking rabbit. Because when you do, life is so much more interesting. It's so much more meaningful. It's exciting. It's ease. It's flow. It's just like, holy shit. So that is what I have been doing deeply the last few months. And it just keeps getting more magical. So anyways, fast forward to me getting back from Sedona. I hang out with my friend Kate that visited me from Chicago. Within like our trip, before I tell her about this, like she was like, oh, my brother is going to be house sitting, or I'm going to be house sitting for my brother and like have some time. Like, if you are interested, like, you should come visit. And I was like, sweet, that sounds fun. I was, where at? She was like, Austin, Texas. And I was like, of course it is. This is one of the cities that I am meant to explore to see if I want to live there, because it is coded for me to be there. So I was like, no fucking way. Yes. So I decided to book tickets for a week to experience the place, get to know the vibe, see if it's an option of me, if it's a place that I could picture myself living. And it's just magical, honestly. Anyways, talking about the move specifically, so TBD on Austin, we will find out. If you have any tips of recommendations on where to go, let me know. Or if you like living there, maybe you live there and you love it, I would love to hear from you. Yeah, I have never visited before, which is funny because this last year I've had so many layovers within Austin and meeting people that are from Austin. I follow a shit ton of people that live in Austin, so I'm like, maybe this could be an exciting place to connect with people. Yeah, Austin is next week. By the time this comes out, I think I will be in Austin. Yeah, so I'll be just finishing up my trip. So TBD on how this turns out. Yeah, moving is super powerful because sometimes it is not really possible to make the drastic changes that we need to make in our life without moving. And it's a difficult thing because we are grounded so sometimes very specifically due to finances, due to partners, or due to family, or we have this like, I couldn't possibly move out, and sometimes it's not even like long term. Maybe you need to go away for a couple months. Maybe you need to move away for a year and then come back. Like, I don't know. It could be much different options. But when you are ready to really embody a new frequency and a new identity and a new person and a new way of being and possibly a new career, a new job, a new way of thinking, new beliefs. I don't know if I repeated myself, but I was on a roll. A lot of this has to do with who is around you, how they see you, and where they keep you. And that can be very difficult when we're trying to like go up and be a different version of ourselves, and someone right next to you is keeping you down here or sees you like this. So you can help communicate and like help create these boundaries, and you can really work with the people around you to help that, and to really say like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going through. But sometimes it's just so much easier to just start from scratch and to move forward. So if that's possible for you, I know we have different circumstances in different ways and in different periods of life. So sometimes that's not all the way possible, but moves are very powerful. It's funny because like my sister and I used to always joke when we move, we'd be like, maybe we can have a new personality or dress different, or like we'd have a new name. We'd like get really excited about who we could be in our next place. And it's just kind of that, like, who can you really tap into when you move? And that's going to honestly be really helpful for me when I move to my new place, my new state, or my new city, and I get to be all around new people, new friends, new environments, and I'm this new frequency, this new person. I introduce myself as a new name, and people there will only know me as that. And people from my past and different aspects of me will know me as nicknames from high school, or nicknames, from college or whatever, and then in my workplace or whatever. And so you'll have these different chapters or sections of people that know you as those different versions. And if you're lucky, they get to change along with you and meet that new version of you and kind of go along with you. And not that you're unlucky if that happens, but that's the cool part. Like, some people get to come with you and other people don't. And that's all right. You're just at a different vibe. And just honor that. Not everybody is on the same path, is on the same trajectory. Sometimes they need to go this way and you need to go this way, and that's okay. It's all neutral at the end of the day. You just have to trust what's good for you and what feels right for you and what feels in right alignment with you. So I'm excited to explore the different areas. And I had initially had the thought like, okay, I've been fortunate enough to come back and live with my parents in and out between different stages of life. Like after I sold my house and, moving from different apartments, they've really had really great space to be like, hey, you can come back and stay with us. And it can feel weird as an adult, like going back to like your parents' place. And a lot of times, I think many of us are in this circumstance, especially the way that the world is right now, kind of weird. And this can feel like, oh my gosh, am I going backwards? Even after I've known a lot of friends that like have been divorced, have kids, and then decide to move back with their parents to have help and such. And a lot of this, like old identities, again, is really strong in the last few episodes, is that you can still view your parent as your parent and you as the child. And this can feel very strange when you come back several years later, especially if you have kids, of like, oh, you're still my parents and I'm still the child, but I'm like in your place as an adult with children or without. But when you shift the identity of like, oh, now we're souls connecting and supporting each other in this lifetime. I see you as a soul and you see me as a soul. This is a connection where we have an adult relationship. I see you as an adult, you see me as an adult. We connect and have healed the trauma. We've had chat about things that we were upset about our childhood. We've healed the wounds that are our inner child. The relationship is extremely different. And that's what I absolutely love about the work that I've, collectively we've been able to do all together. My parents individually and me individually, and then coming back together in a different way, in a different unit. And I had this thought of like, it's summer. As a kid, you have like summer break and summer fun. And how cool would it be to think to like go into this chapter of being in between and just have like, you know what? This is like summer camp. This is summer camp vibes. We're going to be doing different fun stuff. I'm shifting into a new frequency of being and doing. This leads to working different ways and building my own company, and it can feel like intense work. And the same thing of them working, like let's just add some summer fun like we did as kids. And so we made a whole list of things that we would do as like summer camp 2024, and what can we do on the weekends or throughout the week just to like break up routine, add in some summer fun, and just really like capitalize the wave of the momentum of all of us being together again, and like just maximizing the amount of fun we can have. Like it's summer. And so like this would be a fun thing for you to do, even if you're not like moved back with your parents, or if you're not moving in general. Is there a list that you can make of like fun activities that you can do in the summer that's like things that's happening in your city, or free events or places that you wanted to check out, things you want to do, something you want to learn, you want to color, you want to paint, get a tattoo, draw, all these like fun things that like I would at least make a list of like 20 things. And I have that posted up on a big post-it note in the living room. So like I recommend like posting it somewhere you can see. And if you have like a free weekend or free day, look at your list instead of doing the same things that are in the same routines. And we get stuck doing those things because we're human and it's habit and it's easy. Look at the list and be like, okay, is there something fun that I can do right now that's on my summer fun list? And this gives like, it breaks up the monotony of life that can be like work, eat, sleep, take care of kids, like work, eat, sleep, like, okay, weekends off. Like it can feel very like you're just a hamster on the wheel, and I fucking hate that feeling. One of my most valuable like things ever, one of my most core wants and needs is like freedom of time, freedom of like options, freedom of travel, all this stuff. So like it just is the death grip of me when it's like I'm in that rotation. But even though if you're in that rotation, throwing in some of those spontaneous fun summer moments will break up the summer. We'll be able to be like, oh yeah, I remember when like summer 2024 I did all these crazy things on my summer list. And yeah, I just super encourage that. And it's kind of a fun way to just mix up the time. So moving if you can really helps shift the identity and maximize on allowing yourself to experience something new. And I like firsthand have felt this so strongly because different states, cities, or countries that I have lived completely changes the way that I live. I'm not even joking. Some cities are super party focused, alcohol focused, you're going out all the time. And that might be the stage that you're in life, but like it's also very focused part or like area of that place. Like that's the energy of that place. Other places, it's very like outdoors and hikes and cafes and smoothies and stuff, and that's that focus. Others are entrepreneurial and like people are working at the cafes on their laptops and they're shooting content and all this kind of stuff, and that's the vibe. So it's really important to like look at the energy of where you're living and if it matches like what you want in your future of life. And if it's a no, then maybe start to look at other places that can match that, what you would want in your future. And maybe it's not like this year that you're going to be doing that thing. Maybe it's like a few years down the road where you can plan like, okay, this is what I want for my future when I have kids or when I have a career or when I'm in this phase of life. It'll take this many years possibly to get there. And this is the place that I have decided. And that can change as we go, but I think it's important to like really feel into, okay, instead of just like the years go by and you find yourself in the same place like 5 years later and you have wanted to move for the last 5 years, but you didn't because your job's the same and it's easy and you're in routine. And then just all of a sudden time flies by, which it does. And you're just like, shit, like I wanted to move 5 years ago and here I am still fucking here in the same job. And that is fine if that's what you want and that's what you enjoy. Like, I'm not saying that everybody has to move and everybody has to do all these crazy like changes and stuff. So you can still do small changes within your life to shift the energy. We already went over those things. But if it is something that you do want to do, like put the plan in motion of like what you could do in this next year, in the next few months, in the next 2 years, and like where that place would be. Go visit places, ask people, do you like living there? Explore things on the internet, Google, like watch YouTubes, all that stuff. So all that is super accessible for us. And the point is really not to let the time go and just continue to just do the same things when you say you want something different. So that's something that I had to get real with myself. Yeah, so that is the upcoming move. I am in a summer transition in Cincinnati and have the summer list. And by the end of the summer, I hope to find out where I want to move to. So that feels quite exciting. And yeah, I've got a couple trips planned. I'm going to feel into the energy of Austin next week. And then a few weeks after that, we'll head out to Peru. So I have a lot to chat about. And yeah, feel into where you'd want to live. And shoot me messages if you like where you live, because maybe I'll want to live there too. So I'm sending you lots of love. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you in the next episode.